The rain over Lake Geneva had a way of softening the world, blurring the sharp edges of its stone villas and turning the distant Alps into fading watercolors. It was the kind of rain that made people speak in whispers, as if the sky itself demanded reverence. On the morning of my brother Adrian's wedding, the rain fell in a thin, silvery curtain, gentle, almost polite, yet it felt like the world was already holding its breath. The ceremony was set in an old vineyard estate outside Montreux, a place our family had rented every summer when we were children. I remembered running through grape rows barefoot, laughing with my little brother while our parents sipped wine on the terrace. Those were the years before everything went wrong, before our mother died, our father remarried, and the house we grew up in turned into a battleground of quiet hostility. Adrian was the golden child, always had been, charming, fearless, quick-witted, with a smile that could pull the sun out of the clouds. Even now, dressed in a tailored navy suit, he looked like he was born for this day. His bride, Claire, had a beauty that echoed French films, soft curls, pale skin, eyes like forest water. She was shy, graceful, seemingly perfect. I had once thought my life, too, was perfect. My husband, Mark, was well-respected, intelligent, attentive in all the ways a Swiss banker tended to be. He had a way of listening intensely, tilting his head as if he were storing every word. It was what drew me to him. He made me feel visible. But men like him were often better at acting than listening. As the guests gathered under the tented terrace, sipping white wine and admiring the mountain view still visible through the fog, I felt a strange heaviness in my chest, an instinct, a whisper, a warning. My stepmother, Sabine, drifted from guest to guest like a swan gliding on dark water. She always liked to be near power, near money, near things she could control. And she had never liked me. Try to smile, Elena, she murmured as she passed me, her perfume collecting around me like frost. It's a joyous day. I forced a tight grin. I am smiling. She gave me a knowing look, one that made my skin crawl, before disappearing into the crowd. It was when I went upstairs to find my clutch, left behind in one of the guest rooms, that the world tipped. I heard voices before I opened the door. Soft, breathless voices. A woman's gasp. A man's low murmur. A rustle of clothing. I don't know why I opened it. Maybe a part of me already knew. When the door swung open, the scene carved itself into my memory like a blade into stone. My husband and my sister-in-law. Claire was pinned against the dresser, her wedding dress pulled down to her waist, white fabric puddled at her feet. Mark's hands were on her hips, his mouth on her neck. They both froze when the door hit the wall. Claire let out a choked gasp, scrambling to cover herself. A dull roaring filled my ears. The rain outside hit the window harder. The whole world tilted. Elena, Mark said, voice steady, too steady. Wait, this isn't. But the lie died on his tongue. Even he knew there was no story that could cover the one unfolding in front of me. Claire's eyes filled with tears. I'm sorry, she whispered. I didn't mean for you to see. To see? I repeated, numb. The betrayal? Or the fact that you're doing this on your wedding day? Mark stepped forward, zipping his trousers, trying to look composed. You don't understand. No, I said quietly. I think I understand everything. He flinched, just slightly, as if the calmness in my voice unsettled him. I turned around. I didn't trust myself to stay in that room another second without screaming. When I descended the staircase, the reception music had already begun. Guests were clinking glasses, laughing, oblivious. Adrian stood near the bar, watching me approach with a strange intensity. His eyes caught mine, sharp, knowing, unsettlingly calm. He leaned in, as if greeting me normally, but his voice was barely above a whisper. Don't worry, he said, with a small, chilling wink. The main event is about to begin. I froze, because there was something in his voice, something in his eyes, that told me he already knew, and had known. Before I could respond, the music halted abruptly. The speakers crackled. A video began playing on the large screen set up beside the dance floor. The first frame appeared. Mark and Claire, in that same guest room, but from earlier that week. Another day, another betrayal. The guests gasped. My stepmother's hand flew to her mouth. Mark, who had just emerged from the hallway, turned as white as mountain snow. Claire, still adjusting her dress as she stepped out behind him, staggered like she'd been shot. Whispers exploded through the tent. What is this? Is this real? Oh my God, she's the bride. Mark lunged for the screen. Adrian stepped in front of him. Touch it, he said quietly, dangerously, and I break your arm. Mark froze, realizing too late that my brother's charming smile, his golden child personality, hid a darkness inherited from our mother's side. A darkness that only surfaced for family. This isn't you, Mark hissed. You're overreacting, overreacting. Adrian laughed softly. My wife-to-be has been sleeping with my sister's husband. For months. Maybe longer. He leaned in, voice like steel. You should pray that all I do is expose you. Claire burst into tears, collapsing into a nearby chair, but Adrian didn't look at her. He looked at me. This is your call, he said. You deserve the ending. Just tell me when. The ending. Finally, he walked to me. Elena, he said softly. You know I love you. But this was never just about the affair. It started long before. Years before. What are you talking about? I breathed. He looked at Sabine, who was now kneeling on the ground, mascara streaking, begging him to stop. She's been trying to erase you since the day she married our father, Adrian said. You were a threat to her influence. She wanted our father's wealth. And she wanted me under her control. Claire was her puppet. Mark was her insurance. My stomach twisted. It all made sense. All the small cruelties. The exclusion. The subtle sabotage. Why didn't you tell me? I whispered. Because, he murmured, I needed proof. And I needed you to see who Mark really was. If I had told you earlier, you would have defended him. Tears blurred my vision. What happens now? That, Adrian said quietly, depends on you. All eyes turned to me. Mark sweating, trembling, defeated. Claire collapsed in shame. Sabine cornered by her own web of lies. My family, broken, watching me. I inhaled slowly. The rain quieted outside, falling softer now, like the world leaning in to listen. Then I spoke. Everyone leaves with what they deserve. I looked at Mark first. You cheated with my brother's bride. You manipulated me for convenience. You're done. Leave Switzerland today. Never contact me again. He swallowed hard. He knew better than to argue. Then Claire, you will annul this marriage. Today. And you will apologize to my brother and to me in writing before you disappear from our lives.